Selma Mayoral Forum. It's a blessing to have each and every one of you here today.
And I must say that you look beautiful out here. You look just like Selma. Oh my God.
We started about a year and a half ago a conversation about our city. Neither one of us started out in Selma. We ended up here. We love this city, and we want this city to be her best and do her best for all the best people to be the best citizens of the world. That's why we organized the march that we had back into Selma to draw people to people.
Yes, and we called it One Selma, coming home united in faith. And aren't we united? Yes, we are the faith community.
And everyone's here today because you want the best for Selma. We want that. We believe that. I believe that the seeds of our success will be sown in this city by our members and citizens who are involved. So we're glad you're here and we're excited about what you're going to do today. We encourage you to participate in government in every way you can because you are our secret to success.
Tell them a little bit about that.
Hey, are you sure you're broadcasting on that?
That quilt was the genius idea, not of either one of us, but of a pastor's wife, Jamie Allen. She said, you know, a quilt is a way of expressing the community. We are a patchwork quilt. And we started that quilt, and if you can see it, the names on there, it celebrates historical events, churches, businesses, and great people that have made Selma the city that it is. And as a quilt, it represents you, because that's what we are, a patchwork quilt of people from every corner of the world, every culture, every belief system, and we're together in one place.
And we just again want to say thank you, and there has to be 600 people in here because it holds 7, and I only see a few seats, and people are still coming in. I think this will go down as the largest mayoral debate that has ever been held in Selma, and we really do appreciate it. Now, I'm going to give you just a few instructions. Would you please turn off all of your phones, please, and put them on silent. Thank you so much. We just need to thank just a few people. We're just going to take a quick few minutes to do that. We want to thank Auburn University. Please give them a hand and Dr. Judy King. And would you please stand, even though we're going to call him back up, of course. But Mr. Darrell Hood. Oh, how about that? Our timekeepers, the Honorable Judge Prince Chestnut. Would you stand and say hello? And Attorney Gary Thompson, our second timekeeper. We want to thank over and over again First Baptist Church. They have just been awesome, and they're really like our headquarters. Thank you, First Baptist Church. Incorporated, and Mrs. Charlotte Griffin as their president. Leadership Class 22, Mr. James Steele. The Selma City School System and Dr. Mangum, please give her a huge hand. Selma Times Journal, haven't they really been great with the publicity? Give them a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a hand. Thank you, Chief Rock. Thank you, Chief Rock. We have great protection. Thank you, thank you. And the last business I'd like to give thanks to is owned by my own husband, IMAX Vision Center, and thank you, Dr. Maxwell, for putting up with your
Make sure you're doing this.
Let us bow for prayer. Eternal God, our Heavenly Father, we come into the presence. We give you thanks for allowing us to assemble ourselves together. This appointed place, this appointed time. And we pray, oh God, that all that will be said and done here today will meet with your divine approval. Grant unto us renewed strength. Give us that understanding that all things come from you. We cannot do anything without you. Hold us in the palm of your mighty hand. May all that we do, all that we say, be done and said for your name, glory and honor.
Thank you.
We pray this prayer in the precious name of Jesus. The name of Jesus. The name of Jesus. Amen.
Y'all please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I'm going to introduce our candidates and then turn it over to Mr. Darrell Hood. First, Mayor George Evans. Representative Dario Melton. Councilman Greg Belkey. Reverend James Perkins. And Minister Jeree Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone, and to the candidates running for mayor of the city of Selma. We are going to begin with introductory statements from each of you, and we're going to go in this order: Evans, Melton, Belkey, Perkins, and Martin. So, Evans, tell us about yourself and why you think you are the best candidate to be the city's next mayor, and you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first of all thank all of you for being here. Thank all of the candidates for being here, as well as all of the persons who made this event possible. I'd like to thank God also for all the blessings that He has so graciously granted me. I want to also thank my family for being a part of all these years that I've been a part of this political arena. I'd like to say also that I'm a member of the Reformed Presbyterian Church in Selma, where I serve as elder as well as clerk of session. I also want to say that I've attended all my childhood school days in the Selma City School System, where I served at Payne Elementary, Knox, as well as R.B. Hudson. Following that, I did in fact play football and basketball, baseball, and track at R.B. Hudson. Later had a scholarship to go play ball at St. Mary's of Plains College in Garden City, Kansas, where I played there for 4 years with a scholarship. And later, in those years, I met a lot of good people in Kansas and had a chance to see the world, meet a lot of young people all over the world. Coming from a segregated situation to an integrated situation out there in Kansas made my life a lot better. I want to say that during that time, I met a young lady in Kansas, and during that time, she chased after me for a while, And they don't let us catch me. And so we got married in Kansas, in Wichita, Kansas. And I later came back here to teach and coach in the Dallas County School System where I served as teacher, coach, and principal. And later on, I thank Mr. Frank Ernest for those opportunities where I served the Black Elite program, I served the Special Ed coordinator, I served the Title I program as well, and of course later on I became the superintendent of schools in the Dallas County System where I served about 7 years. During that tenure, naturally, I had a lot of opportunity to do a lot of things in basketball, as a basketball official at the college level, high school, and the NCAA levels. So those things, I guess, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, gave me a lot of leadership skills that have been training me to prepare for the program today. And I believe all the candidates here today, I have, based on my success rate and experience and career, I believe that I am the best qualified candidate to continue to move forward with our city for the things we have in place right now. There is a tremendous blueprint already laid for the future of our city that we need to continue to move forward with as a city and so forth. What I'd like to say is that I love Selma.
30 seconds.
Also, I believe in Selma, and I believe in each of you. Thank you.
Mr. Milton.
Good afternoon. Let me say first to thank you to 1-7 for putting this on. But my story is your story. The question is always asked, can anything good come out of Selma? I know you, you know me. I grew up in what was considered one of the substandard areas of our city, where poverty was a daily reality for many of us. And even today, it's considered to be one of the most critical areas of our city. That is the George Washington Carver Homes neighborhood. I had many obstacles stacked against me. But by the grace of God, I had parents, Johnny Melton, John Rawls, my stepdad, Eugene Hatcher. I had teachers, Ms. Yassaway, Ms. Gayla Okeke, Mr. George Rhodes. I had coaches, Cecil Williamson, Alan Morgan, Raymond Brown, Foster Davis, Leroy Miles. I had pastors, Kirk Ellison, Bishop F.L. Williams, who instilled in me values and principles that led me to the University of Alabama in Birmingham and took me even further to Emory University. And while I was at Emory University, I had this calling. One of my coaches used to say, I heard Mama calling. And that's how I feel. I heard Selma calling. I didn't want to say 20 years from now that I used to live in Selma. But I wanted to be able to say that I thrived in Selma. And so I moved back home. And what led to my first job, working with former Congressman Archer Davis, who taught me what it meant to serve people in the political sector. What led to my first election as your state representative, which I think we've done a great job of representing this area for the state. And what is leading me even now is not a position, but what can I do to help and move Selma boldly into the 21st century? So I moved back home. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I'm happy to be back in the place where I belong. I believe that God has given me many experiences, many gifts, talents, and skills to give to another young man, another young woman who may have been born in the same predicament in which I was born.
30 seconds.
Selma, I say to you this afternoon, I am not the man I am today without you. So no, you don't owe me. I owe you.
Mr. Belkey.
Thank you. Thank you, Selma, for putting on this. Y'all worked very, very hard. It's very well organized. Maxwell has been just outstanding, keeping everybody up to date on how we do this. My friend in Selma, my Selma residents, I've been in Selma, Dallas County all my life. Grew up in the country. I went to county school all my life. It wasn't till, and I'm a small business owner, my dad was a small business owner, so I know what small business owners are, and it's an industry, the folks who are trying to make a living every day have to go, are facing. I know it. I saw my dad, who raised 7 children with a shoe store in Mayoral. I know what it involves. But I want y'all to know that I am, today standing from you, I am not a politician. I do not like speaking at a podium, but I do love Selma. I love campaigning, and I love just to meet, go around meeting everybody and talking to anybody who will stand a chance to talk to me about Selma. I sincerely enjoy it so much. Selma, my friend, Selma is truly at a fork in the road with this election. It's a very serious election. You know, the very existence of Selma could begin on this. I've been on the council for 5 years. I finished off a term from Ms. Newton. She left Selma early, and it was an unexpired term. I won that election, came back and won unopposed. I had seen what the things that need to be done. They are. I'm gonna call them tasks that have been left undone. I love Selma. I know what can be done. I want to tackle this. This election, please everyone know, is not about me. It is not about these other candidates up here. It is about our town and the town that we all love. I want everyone also to know that I promise to serve everyone in this town. Serve Selma. I don't care what side of town you're on, what club you're in, what car you drive. I want to serve Selma. I want to see it grow. I know it can do better. I've seen it do better. Most everyone in here has seen it do better, and y'all know it can do better. So I want everyone to keep that in mind. I want to serve you and our entire town and watch it grow, because I know it can be big. Thank you.
Mr. Perkins?
Well, hello to all. Good to be here. Just thankful for this opportunity to address the community. I want to simply acknowledge a few things. One, each of us as candidates will have 1 minute to respond to each question. That's going to give you sound bites, and what you really need more than anything else is information. We will do the best we can, I'm certain, in achieving that, but I want you to know that as a candidate for mayor and as your mayor, I have a specific focus and a specific vision for our community. My vision includes to make Selma a smart city, to integrate our community technologically, the human factor, the business, government, all aspects, education of our community, to integrate everything together to make us a smart city, to address the issues of jobs. We need jobs in our community, and that is my focus. My focus is when we have more jobs, we will have less crime. Those are my focus. We need to improve the quality of our neighborhoods. We need to address issues in government operations to make us more efficient as a government, and I am convinced that we can do that. We need to integrate the activities of our education system and support and promote the issues of excellence within education, from pre-K through college and workforce development. And finally, we need to promote unity in our community, and we need to do that through faith and work. Faith alone would not do it. It's going to take some heavy lifting, but I am convinced that together we will build a better Selma. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
My name is Sharia Martin, and I love Selma, but I hate what's been happening here. I moved back to Selma in 2013 after graduating the top of my class at Princeton Theological Seminary, only to come back and to take me 6 months to seek employment. It also took me 6 months to find a job, a place that I could call home and to fit into. Not only this, that within the first year, I was robbed. I was left alone and abandoned by city members, but what I did is to take everything that Selma has instilled in me over all these years to put back into our communities in an organization that I developed called Circle of Hope Ministries. So every Sunday I'm in our Dallas County jails bringing hope. Every weekday I'm out in our low-income communities bringing hope. I'm helping with job skills development. Selma never had to call me back because Selma for me was always on speed dial. Every summer that I was away at school, I came back home to help Selma. Every holiday, I came back to build up our city. So no, I don't owe you, you don't owe me, but we all owe Selma. And for us, Selma, our motto is from Civil War to civil rights and beyond. I am running today because it's time to get to the beyond. It's time to get to Selma's bright future. It is time for Selma's fresh start. And Selma's fresh start starts with a vote for Jaria Martin on August 23rd.
This next round of questions are questions that were written specifically for particular candidates. You each will have 3 minutes to give your responses to these questions. Mr. Evans, businesses are steadily closing in Selma, while no businesses seem to be interested in coming to our city. If you are re-elected mayor, what are your plans for increasing economic development in Selma and convincing industries to invest in Selma?
Thank you very much for that question. I think that there's a misconception in terms of businesses here in Selma. There are plenty of businesses in Selma. We need more business naturally. But the point I'm making, and there are plenty of jobs in Selma, there are people who become qualified, certified, and be able to pass drug testing, have the skill levels in order to do this job, but that does not exist. Now, from the standpoint of businesses coming to Selma, I would say that businesses, they're not businesses leaving Selma as much as businesses are expanding their business and relocating. You can go down all of Highway 80, and you can see all of the businesses that are reopening, reestablishing, or relocating. I won't even go to the point of talking about the one specifically. You talk about the business of, let's take Moore Stewart, expand and move forward. Let's take Taco Bell. Let's take Wendy's. Let's take Hardee's. All of these businesses could have closed, but they see something bigger than what we see evidently because they do their homework. They invest in Selma because they see a future in Selma. So those businesses we see all up and down our highways who are reestablishing and reopening, they're opening because they see the big picture. And so the result of that, we're going to continue to work with the EDA, Team Selma, the Chamber, in order to entice individuals to come and do business in Selma. Selma is open for business, and certainly in doing so, we want all business because tax dollars are important to our city as we move forward in terms of the budgets that we prepare each year.
Let's please allow the candidates to speak so that you can get the full picture from each candidate. Thank you.
Well, I've answered the question. There's a misconception in terms of business leaving Selma. We have had some business leave Selma, such as J.C. Penney's, and there's a rationale and reason for a lot of things that are going on. It's not necessarily because of me or any individual. Businesses are losing money in some places, and they're closing up all over the Southeast. But at the end of the day, we are still reaching out to bring business to Selma, and we'll continue to do that in order to bring business to Selma. So that misconception is something that possibly EDA, Mr. Wayne Barnum, Cheryl Smedley can clarify that better than I can. I wish I had all the data here to give that individual, and I'll be glad to meet with that individual and share it with them later so that they can see exactly what I'm saying has facts and meaning and not just something for me to procrastinate
30 seconds.
And not bring them any message. Thank you.
Mr. Milton, what did you achieve as a representative in the Alabama House that would uniquely qualify you to transition to city government effectively?
I was elected to office in 2010. Since then in Montgomery, we had some notable successes, achievements. One thing in particular that I was able to do was work along with Alabama Department of Transportation. You can check the records. Over $77 million has been spent in our district. And to understand that, we work on state roads, state projects. Over $77 million has been spent here in this district. Also, the H-Trip project, but many of you may be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, let me help you out. You remember the repavement of Medical Center Parkway. That came through my committee. You remember the repavement of Oka Harbor. That came through my committee. Other things I've done since state representative. We have passed legislation to allow a microbrewery downtown Selma. That's legislation that I personally handle myself. Other legislation that I have done is to make it permissible for Selma City Council to create an entertainment district for a city outsiders. You know what I told them in Montgomery? We might not be a big city like Birmingham. We might not be a big city like Huntsville, but Selma is an international city. So we've done some things in this city in regards to helping this district. But let me go even further personally. You don't get elected freshman legislator of the year because you're not doing anything. You don't get elected. You don't get elected secretary legislator of the year because you're not doing anything. You don't get listed as Alabama, one of Alabama's top 20 under 40 because you're not doing anything. As a matter of fact, you don't become the chairman for the entire state because you're not doing anything. So we've done some stuff in Montgomery.
Mr. Belton, given your recent personal financial experiences, how will you be able to effectively manage the city's finances and budget?
Please repeat that.
Given your recent personal financial experiences, how will you be able to effectively manage the city's finances and budget?
I'm glad to answer that question. As everyone probably knows, I have learned over the last few years that stones and obstacles are thrown in our paths. God throws obstacles in our path to change our direction, to get our attention, to get us to do what He wants us to do. We're on our own little path. I'm thoroughly convinced that stones and obstacles are thrown on my path to bring me where I am here today. I saw something in an office recently. It said only God can take a trial and turn it to triumph. He can take a mess and turn it to a message. I thoroughly and sincerely believe that I have my course has been changed to put me here today. Now, to answer the question about the financials, I have studied those closely. I think it's very important for city government to have a good financial officer in charge right now. I'm pleased with our current treasurer, Ms. Wade, keeps a close watch on everything. She watches us very, very well. And I have all confidence that she can do that. But by all means, I do want to look over, watch that budget closely. I want to watch all the line items. I'm having questions for several line items that I'm concerned about. And so as long as we have the right people in place and they're doing their job, I'll be glad to work with them and the council to make sure that everything is carried out properly. So I thank you for that question very much.
Mr. Perkins, if elected, do you think it's possible to fully run a city at all of its business-related activities and at the same time fully function in the position as the pastor of a church?
You will find first off that Ebenezer Baptist Church is uniquely positioned for this opportunity. The man that you honored earlier, Dr. F.D. Reese, served 12 years on the city council while being principal of a school and pastoring Ebenezer. You will also find out if you poll the community that most of the pastors who are of working age have a full-time job elsewhere. And so this is not something that would be unique to James Perkins and Ebenezer. The answer to your question specifically is it can be done because my strength is management. My strength is to be able to manage a $20 million organization and 300 people. That's what I do. I offer those skills to the community so that we can move our city into a better place.
Ms. Martin, the city of Selma has over 200 employees and budget of over $200 million. What experiences do you have that qualify you or have prepared you for such a responsibility?
Yes, sir. I'm so glad that this question has been asked, because let me first just make the statement that while I do not have the political experience, I do have the skill set that translate effectively to politics. So with that being said, I have handled a $500 million budget serving at Princeton in the Office of Religious Life as assistant to the Dean of Religious Life. I have served on the board for Black Belt Community Foundation, where we operate over a $2 million budget. So I have experience in working with money and budgets, but I also have the experience and the capabilities to bring people together, to build relationships, and that's what we need in city government today. We have to unify our communities, because no matter what platform issue we're talking about, whether that's public safety, infrastructure, no matter what bridge we are crossing next, what's going to matter is that we cross those bridges together. And that's why I'm running, and that's why it's time for a fresh start. Thank you.
We're going to move on to questions about the economy. You will each have 1 minute to answer these questions. And we're going to go in this order: Melton, Belkey, Perkins, Martin, Evans. If you need me to repeat the question, just ask me to repeat the question. Question number 1. What are your plans for economic growth and development? How can we attract more businesses and stop the loss of current businesses? Address specifically how you will involve unemployed youth and the unemployed population in general. Mr. Melton.
I think it's a good question. Here's how I look at that question. It's one and the same. Education, workforce development, and job creation. What will it look like under the Melton administration? It will look like us partnering with the school system and partnering with industry to see what skill sets are needed for the next 4 or 5 years, to make sure that we are preparing our kids to take the jobs that we already have here in our district. What would that look like? I tell you one thing, industries, they will pay for this. Why would they pay for it? Because it will save them money on the front end. They do the training, because 5 years from now, they'll know what type of employee they have coming inside of their business. So how will the young people be involved? Under the Melton administration, we want to work with the school system, so we can have 11 and 12 graders who have apprenticeships, who have internships in our city. So when they leave the high school, they will be involved in our employment here. And so as we continue to move forward on the Melton administration, we will make sure that everybody's at the table, both education system and industries here itself.
Mr. Belkey.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hood, you please repeat it again, please.
What are your plans for economic growth and development? How can we attract more businesses and stop the loss of current businesses? Address specifically how you will involve unemployed youth and the unemployed population in general.
This question went through my head just this morning. Economic development, it's very, very important. We do work with our EDA and also the airport authority and even at the state level. It's extremely important. I think if we all meet, communication is important. But I want to say this, we can spend $1 million promotion. If these folks come into town, want to locate an industry here or business here, all you folks that want to know Charlie's and so forth, they come into this town and they see the shape that we're in, they're not staying. We have to clean up our house. We have to clean up our house and get things in order before we can start providing industry. Now, as far as the youth, I have something I want to do called the basic workforce, which is
Mr. Perkins.
This is where experience really comes into play. And I will explain that at the end of this answer. But I'm convinced that we are positioned to not just seek jobs, but to create an entire industry that does not exist in Selma in the Black Belt today. It could be around organic food, it could be around clean energy. But I am convinced that we have the natural resources and the capacity to create an industry so that logistics, production, education, all the components of that industry can be developed and offered through Selma. I am also convinced, Mr. Belkey is right, we got to clean up the city because prospects come into our community. And when they come, they have to decide. They will decide in many instances before we even know they're here, whether we are fit for their industry.
Ms. Martin?
I believe that Selma's next mayor has to be proactive. So with that being said, let me tell you what I've already done to recruit industry and businesses here in Selma. In the past 7 years, I've traveled to over 7 different countries to meet with and speak with elected officials and heads of industries to talk about bringing companies here to Selma. I've also met with State Superintendent Cleveland to talk about programs that we can bring here to Selma in order to bring about job readiness and job creation skills within our school systems that will partner with both industry and business here by offering internships, apprenticeships, and also volunteer opportunities for both our public school and private school students. Thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a good question, and I'll say that everything that's been said prior to my speaking is on target. There's no doubt that education and city government need to work together hand in hand. I will say this, that HR programs in the school system and in the business system are currently operational, are now having a dialogue. Matter of fact, they've already gone dialogue some 2 or 3 years ago trying to prepare the students. But the skill level they need to prepare for, so when they graduate from high school, they may have a job during the summer months, or they do not go to the military, or they do not go to college. They have a job at home in order to bring business back. So there is in motion already a program with the school system and the business in Selma to encourage our young people to get involved in HR programs and counsel and teachers to make them better prepare our kids so they can work at home if they choose to and not go abroad.
Next question. How will you ensure Selma has a qualified workforce to attract sustainable businesses? Mr. Milton.
I think it's very important that we take advantage of the 2-year college system that we have here. We are moving into what is called the innovative economy. What does that look like? 3D printing, cybersecurity, computer programming, video production. Those are some things I think we can do here in Selma. If we partner with our local colleges, if we partner with our junior colleges, and we partner with the industry that already exists. So in the Melton administration, we want everybody at the table to say, what ways can we make your business better? I know we start talking about small businesses and capital and capacity. There's 2 questions we have to ask ourselves. The bank want to know, show me capacity. Small business say, give me capital. I think we can work with the state and federal government to provide small businesses with what they need. And so that's what you will see under the Melton administration. We will work with them to give them the capacity they need, be a technical assistance, be a bookkeeping, and then at the same time we show the banks what they have.
Mr. Bilkey?
Please repeat that again.
How will you ensure Selma has a qualified workforce to attract sustainable businesses?
As I was saying a little bit earlier, the bell rang on. I think to start very, very early, our summer youth program here that we had at Selma, we employed 100 or so youth. I think that is a very crucial point to train the youth. It's not, let's don't just employ them, let's teach them, let's train them the basics. It starts right there. I have personally employed, over the 30-something years that I've been a small business owner, I have employed hundreds, but it seems hundreds of young people, and you'd be surprised at the people that have come to me that did not know how to use a broom or a shovel or a wheelbarrow. We're talking basic work skills here. So it's got to start right here. It can start with our summer youth program. It can start after school tutoring program. But we've got to start there and move up. So, and then I was getting ready to say that I think that
Mr. Perkins?
2 ways to improve your workforce. You can grow it from within, or you can recruit it from without. Either way, in order to retain it, you have to pay people a fair and equitable wage. Under my administration, I will put the money of this city in the pockets of the people who are serving the people of this community. I will do the things that are necessary to ensure that they have a competitive wage based upon the state's average of wages. I will also make sure that our youth be a part of this initiative by ensuring that they don't work part-time during the summer, but they have full-time jobs during the summer. We will maximize the number of youth that we hire in this initiative.
Ms. Martin?
As I was speaking about our meeting with the state superintendent Cleveland, we were actually talking about developing programs right here in Selma where our young people, our seniors and juniors especially, can partner with the businesses and the industries that are already here to have full-time jobs year-long. Full-time, year-long jobs, apprenticeships, internships, so that they can begin working in the areas that already spark their interest. This is the type of innovative and creative work that is going to take to bring about a positive transformation in the community. And we also have to think about our felons. Many of our people cannot get a job here because of their felonies, so we have to look into programming that will give these folk another second chance or a third chance, an opportunity to be the great men that they can be. And so this is the type of opportunity we have to look at with Selma's situation.
Mr. Evans?
Yes, we are a college town. We have 3 college universities right here in Selma. Certainly Wallace is one of the best in terms of job training for programs that bring about job training and skill level achievement. Many of our young people fail to want to go to those programs and get a scholarship or some type of aid in order to be better prepared for the purpose of doing those local jobs. And so it is our responsibility as educators as well as city government to formulate a plan and bring together a task force made up of young people as well as adults to sit down and talk about how can we get our young people more involved with the jobs that's here in Selma. We right now need more police officers. We need right now more fire department people. We don't have enough of them right now. We can't find them to come and be in Selma because certainly it's a part of the salary matrix. The salary matrix is low, and we have already put in place a pay plan that hopefully by this time next year it'll be enacted and our employees will get a substantial salary.
Our final question on the economy. Currently, the city maintains the St. James Hotel at $25,000 a month. If elected, will you allow a major hotel chain to operate the historic St. James Hotel? If you are elected mayor, do you plan to actively lobby national chains such as Hampton Inn to purchase and renovate the St. James Hotel? Mr. Melton.
The St. James Hotel has been an issue in our community for far too long. It shouldn't be an issue. I tell you, within the first few months of the Melton administration, we're going to sell that hotel once and for all. And the reason that is so important, 2 things. If we can sell it and get cash immediately, that's a win for Selma. Secondly, we can get tax revenue from the hotel. The city should not be in the hotel business, but we are in the tax revenue business. And so we need to get that hotel back into private hands and let the private business do what they do. In return, we get what we need in tax revenue. And so that's what we'll do with the St. James Hotel. And yes, we want it sold to national chains. So whoever developer want to come in, but we'll make sure we get off the city books with private people.
Mr. Belkey?
You don't have to repeat that one, Mr. Stewart. I heard that. Yes. In fact, Mr. Melton, we're going to vote this coming Tuesday, our next council meeting. We have lined up a national realtor company, a company that is going to market that St. James for us, and it's going to be sold. And not just so, but we're going to sell it to a good chain that is not only going to redo the hotel, but it's going to buy adjoining properties. the potential down there for conventions is just unbelievable. Not that we have the amphitheater, but next to the amphitheater is this huge room for more convention space. It's walking distance to our civic center. It's a potential time bomb of explosion and possibilities there. So without a doubt, the answer is yes, Mr. Beverly.
Mr. Perkins.
The St. James Hotel, by industry standards, is what you refer to as a boutique hotel. Not only would I advertise it to chain, I would also advertise it to organizations that currently operate successfully boutique-style hotels. I want to tell you how I would do it. I would put out an RFP, a request for proposal or a request for quotation. I would not select a vendor. I would actually give everyone an opportunity to bid on the property. That way you get the best bang for the buck. That's how I would do it, and I will tell you that the $240,000 that you mentioned that goes to the hotel, that money sure could go for raises for our employees. 25,000. I was told 20.
Ms. Martin.
I would just have to say that I do believe that as city government, we should be supporting our businesses, not competing with them, so that I can stand here flat-footed and say in faith that we will be selling the St. James Hotel if I have anything to do with it. But also you have to remember that we must work together with the council in order to get this done. And I will always be a mayor that will bring everyone to the table, the council and also the community. The community, have you been asked what should we do with the St. James Hotel? We will bring everybody to the table. The community, the brokers, the realtors, everybody will have a voice and everybody will have a seat at the table under a Martin administration. Thank you.
Mr. Evans.
Thank you. I agree that the city should not be in hotel business. However, that did happen. And the city council certainly is doing everything it can to resolve that issue. We've had an appraisal done on the hotel right at $900,000. We accept that appraisal. And now they're negotiating to get it. By the time any of us are back in office in November, St. James Hotel will be sold. Okay? So as a result of what we're doing today, it's wonderful to talk about. And certainly the St. James Hotel needs to move on. The idea of shutting down the St. James Hotel would have been a tremendous mistake. However, the fact of management was a problem, and certainly the St. James Hotel, through the process of what's going on right now, it will be sold by the time we go back in office in November, once the election is over.
Our next set of questions focus on crime in the city, and we'll go in this order. Belkey, Perkins, Martin, Evans, Melton, and you will each have 1 minute to answer this question. First question, the crime rate in Selma is at an all-time high. If elected mayor, what do you plan to do to combat the crime in order to make our community safe? Mr. Belkey.
First off, I want to say that let's separate our police department from the crime problem. Our police department is not the problem. But they do need more funding, and I know ways to do that, and I can elaborate on that later. Yes, let's start with funding, and I can find that. Number two, besides funding, let's give them other benefits. Let's let them know that they're backed by the council and the mayor, that we support them. Let's let them know that citizens support them. Let's give them the equipment they need. Let's go to the citizens of Selma, find out what do y'all want us to do to fight crime. Let's do shorter hours, which equals more family time for them. Let's monitor the traffic coming in and out of our neighborhoods to fight crime. There's a lot of things that I look forward to doing and working with our police chief. There is so much of a benefits by all means, and I can find the funding, but that's just a long list. I'll be glad to discuss it further.
Mr. Perkins.
Yet I'll be very specific. I am convinced that the minimum pay for police officers starting in the city of Selma should be at least $34,000. I am convinced that we need community law enforcement. We need the mobile unit back on the street, moving around our community, identifying those hot spots, and putting those fires out. I'm also convinced that we need to strengthen our community policing strategy. That can be done. I also believe that when we incorporate 2-year degree requirements for our recruits, by increasing those requirements will increase the standard of performance within our police department. It is a proven fact that the higher the education, the less community conflict. The whole idea is not to just hire people, it's to hire the best people and to keep them. Finally, I will institute $5,000 home assistance program grants for any officers or any citizen, employee.
Ms. Martin?
Crime is going to be stopped, and this is a series of solutions. First, we're going to have data-driven community policing. So we're going to look at those statistics, and we're going to have officers in those areas that have been troublesome in the past. And we're also going to incorporate neighborhood watch programs, business watch programs, and also worship watch programs where our community, our businesses, and our churches are coming together to combat crime in Selma. But we're also going to give our officers these much-needed raises, and I have a plan already set into place to give our officers competitive salaries, and this plan is going to be funded by my $4 million tourism plan that I'll talk about another time today.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you very much. I want to say that, to answer your question, there is a pay plan already been studied. By this time next year, our police officer will be in that pay plan that's in place, as well as all of our employees. That's in motion. Now, the other thing I say that we do have community policing already happening in our city, and I will say that we need to hire more police officers, surely. And by the end of the day, what's happening is we have 10 people who apply for a police job, but you get through doing all the background checks, psychologicals, and so forth, they do not qualify. But again, I would say we need to raise the bar on salaries. I agree with that. But here's one thing I know most people won't like. Police officers can't do everything by themselves. Now, it takes us as citizens to create community neighborhoods. We need neighborhood watch programs, and we can't get our citizens to create neighborhood watch programs in our community. We'll cut our crime rate in half if everybody get on board, create neighborhood watch programs to help each other watch our neighbors.
Mr. Milton?
I think we need to begin first by commending and applauding men and women who are the guardians and gatekeepers of our city. For too long, they have been overworked and underpaid. Working 2 or 3 jobs, coming to work tired. That's unacceptable in the Melton administration. We want to make sure that we increase the salaries of our officers. We want to make sure that we reinstitute the pay scale that was in place when Selma was in office, but the last administration was removed. We're going to make sure that the officers who have degrees, we're going to make sure that our pay scale is comparable to what they have. And let me put this bird to rest. No, I'm not running to fire Chief Brock. I'm running, I spoke with him, I want to work with him with the things he wants to do to expand law enforcement in this city. So no, I'm not running against Chief Brock, I'm running for Selma. Let's put Selma first.
You hinted at it a little bit in your responses to the first question. And the second question will give you a little more time to expound on your answers. What plans, if any, do you have for recruitment and retaining officers to fully staff the police department and improve salaries? How do you plan on paying for it, and at what time frame? Mr. Belton.
I wanted to go through our budget, find places where we are spending too much. I want to trim the budget, and there are places to do that. Second, there are places on our current budget that has plenty of room for revenue. And let me make this clear, as I say, raising taxes is out of the question. I firmly believe that I can find revenue in our budget ways to fund our more officers and equipment for our policemen. Secondly, I want to say that like I said earlier, let's let them know that they're appreciated. Let's give the equipment they need. Let's ask them, let's go to them, let them know what they need. Let's ask the citizens, but by all means, but like I say, it's not just the money, it's in the benefits. Let's work with them, let them know how much they appreciate it, and give them the morale they need. But going through budget can be high class.
Mr. Perkins?
Well, they incorporate the $5,000 down payment assistance program for any officer who has a desire to purchase a home within the city limits. That program was in place, it has been dismantled. I would bring it back. In addition to that, I would search for uncollected revenue. I'm convinced that there are uncollected revenues that are out there that we simply have not collected. Additionally, I would redirect monies that we are spending. I'm convinced that the priorities are not there for the spending that's necessary to do what we need to do with our police officers. Finally, the Smitherman administration pay plan was upgraded twice while I served as mayor of the city of Selma.
Ms. Martin?
So for me, we are going to offer those competitive salaries, and I can say that in full faith because for one, I have already sat down with our budget and have applied it to this new modern technique called priority-based budgeting, which actually gave almost $1 million extra to be given to our police department. So I would be able to get into office day one, starting our new budget to put this in place. And also, I will put in place my tourism plan, working with the tourism department and with the EDA to bring in almost $4 million over the next 4 years through tourism. And we will use this money to improve our infrastructure, to give our officers the much needed raises and the technology they deserve, and to also strengthen and have opportunities for our young people here in Selma.
Mr. Evans?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't like to be redundant and repetitious, but I'm the same to everybody again. City government has already put together a pay plan in order to raise the bar for all of our employees, which includes the police department. And when that plan is finally approved by the council in the next month or so, then the city of Selma will take those funds based on our financial situation with the budget and implement a program. It may be phased in, it may not, I don't know, until we get the dollar amount. But you see, we have a half-cent sales tax. We have some refunding of debt from the standpoint of bonds that we can use to pay all of our employees, including police, a raise. I think that some of the things that we're talking about certainly is important, but I want to say there are things in motion right now to make these things come to fruition. So whoever's here as mayor or council, they'll have a blueprint to go by to put these things, implement these things, because the city is right now moving forward in that direction.
Mr. Miller?
I think as leader of this city, we show priorities where we put our money. When Smitherman was mayor, we had over 70 officers budgeted for. When he left the office, it dropped down to 65. Now it's down at 60. So we put our money where our priorities are. Under the Melton administration, as I spoke with Chief Brock, right now 60 is a comfortable number. We want to work to make sure that we can hire officers at capacity to make sure that our city is being patrolled 24/7. Now, how will we pay for that? My God, the St. James, we just put money in a hole daily at the St. James. We can't continue to do that. Also, we may have to cut back on some entertainment. In Montgomery, I get sick and tired of hearing people, you all show party in Selma. Under the Melton administration, we're going to stop the party, we're going to start the billboard. Tax that was promised to our law enforcement, we're going to make sure they get that.
The final question in this category. Many of Selma's residents report that they are not getting the type of consistent police presence in their neighborhoods that they need in order to create a deterrent. Realizing that there's no quick fix, what is your plan to build relationships and take steps that will prevent crime, strengthen families and communities, and improve public safety? Mr. Belkin.
Thank you. And I've mentioned this one time before, and I want to mention it again. I want you to make the police presence in the neighborhoods. I want to closely monitor traffic coming in and out of our neighborhoods and all around our town. And I see this all the time. I live on the corner. I see people flying through stoplights. I hear the loud music. I see the activity that goes on behind Valley Creek Homes. I can see that. But I think it's very important for our police to closely monitor traffic coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods and around our towns. Secondly, I think you'd asked a question about with the children. I think you mentioned more of a presence with the policemen. I'd also like to start real early getting the policemen into our schools so that the children respect them and are not.
Mr. Perkins?
I would encourage the community to really strengthen the presence of neighborhood associations. One of the ways I would do that is by encouraging them to include a strategy that I refer to as get to know your neighbor, and to build into that strategy the presence of a police officer. Then my commitment would be to assign a police officer, working through the chief, assign a police officer to every neighborhood association so that the police officer can be the point of contact for that neighborhood association. We not have to dial 911 to ask a question about law enforcement. They will be able to speak to someone directly within the department. But you have to work with the chief when you're dealing with these kinds of issues. If you try to do otherwise, trust me, I've made mistakes. That's one you don't want to make.
Ms. Martin?
Again, I would have to say that our solution is clearly having a neighborhood watch, business watch, and worship watch programs where our business communities, our churches, and our communities are meeting regularly with our police chief and our officers, where they know each other, where they build relationships, and where we can also get that data-driven community policing, where we can have a cohort of officers, not just one or two that are dedicated to one part of the community, to lifting up, inspiring, and motivating, and being there for one aspect of the community. So it's going to take strong neighborhood watch, business watch, and worship watch, bringing the community together to rid our communities of crime.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you. I think what you said is, I'll just echo that again, that neighborhood watch is critical. In my opinion, if we all get on board and become a part, neighborhood watch will cut down crime tremendously. By the same token, I want to say community policing is still important. We have, like you said, roughly 40-some police officers. They ride the beats of the community, and as a result of that, many times you do not know it's a police officer. They don't ride in police cars. So many times you don't know what type of car they're in. It's disguised, per se, in terms of, there is no sign that says police, but they are moving in the neighborhood, maybe not as much as they should or need to, and we're working on that, but community policing is taking place in our city, not as much as I would like for it to, but it is with the working in force. And so we'll work on the community policing, but we also work on neighborhood watching, us as community, working together and do all other things that all of the candidates have said, I know we can turn it around and change it.
Mr. Milton?
Let me say, first of all, I would like to thank God that when I was a young man, that police officer John Bean was not in disguise when he came to my community, but that he came to my house and I knew who he was. So what will we do in the Milton administration? 3 things. We'll make sure that officers walk the beat again as they used to walk through the city. We will make sure that we reinstitute bike patrol that we used to do in the city. But thirdly, we have motorcycles now that's in inventory that we are not fully utilizing. We want to make sure we utilize what we have to get what we need. Fourthly, we're in the 21st century. Lighting is not just like convenience, but we have a fiber infrastructure in our city. We want to light the city up. Well, officers can, from their cruisers, light up the suspicious areas they have to. So those are some things that we would do under the Melton administration to make sure that our communities are safe and make sure that our officers are safe. That's what we're doing.
Our next category of questions deal with education. Again, you will each have 1 minute to answer these questions. We'll go in this order: Perkins, Martin, Evans, Milton, and Belkin. Question number 1. A quality education system is one of the most important drivers in economic growth and an indicator of a city's overall health. Do you believe that the quality of our educational system can be redeemed? What will you do to exert a meaningful influence to ensure that Selma's educational challenges are actively addressed? Mr. Perkins.
I think that Selma's education system is being redeemed. I'm convinced that we are moving in a direction to change the quality of the delivery of our education system. I'm also convinced that there needs to be a stronger collaboration between city government and the education system. There are several things that education systems cannot do for themselves that the city has the capacity to do. We need to strengthen those relationships. And finally, I would say that safety of our children must be first. Once we ensure the safety of our children within the school system, there is nothing that can stop Selma from being an excellent system. Nothing.
Ms. Martin.
First of all, let me say that I believe that we are truly blessed to have now a wonderful superintendent of our Selma City Schools. I had a chance to listen to her vision at my Rotary meeting, and I tell you, it is outstanding. So my first priority is going to be, as your mayor, to support our superintendent and board to help them achieve those goals that they have set. And I also would like to again meet with our superintendent so that the city can provide programming that complements the work that they are already doing, and also be able to fill in that gap to give our children a bright future after graduation by helping them with jobs at commencement. Thank you.
Mr. Evans.
Yes, I totally agree that we need part of education here in our city. I know there's always room for improving education, just like there's room for improving in the city government. The city government does make a sizable contribution to the program through the taxes received, right at $1.7 million that the city government does contribute to the school system for the purpose of doing things that are necessary. So I agree that there's room for improvement in the school system. Nobody's perfect. We all need to work together from the standpoint of that. And I'll tell you one thing we need to do. We need to get more parental involvement in the schools. Every time that I work in the school system, the worst thing we had is parents did not come and support their children in the school. But yet they let the teachers to do everything and coach with and just tell them, we need more parental involvement in our schools.
Mr. Milton.
As your state legislator, I fought for the last 6 years to make sure that we are paying our teachers as much as possible we can. Our teachers are so much to us. So to some of us, they're our dads, they're our moms, they're our counselor, they're our mediator, and we don't do enough for teachers. So that's what I've done on the state level. Now here it is on the city level. We got to understand our roles and responsibilities. It's not the mayor's job to micromanage the school system. We are all elected officials. So under the Belton administration, what we would like to see, more technology inside of our school system, so our kids can compete in the 21st century market. We also would like to upgrade our curriculum. You know what I found out? Our expectation level sometimes is too low for our kids. If we raise the level of expectation, I know they'll reach that level of expectation. We got to stop hoping that they do better, but start expecting that they will do better. And so that's what we'll do under the Belton administration.
Mr. Belkin.
Yes, you know, the school board does operate separately from the city of Selma, although we do give them $1.7 million a year. But it's extremely important that we work together. I want to know, I think it's important that we should know what issues you face, what problems are you having. Is there anything we can do for you? So I think it's really important that we know Dr. Mangum is doing a great job. It's always a pleasure to be around her. She's doing a good job. But I think more communication is real important. Also, there has been talk of a magnet school over the years. I think not only will we find these talents of these children, I don't care what side of your town that you're on, there are gifted children all over Selma. But this could also be the spark that could get all children together. We can start small, putting children together, and as they grow, perhaps the dream of having an integrated school system over again is a dream, but we have to start small. Perhaps a magnet school could be it, and find gifted children at the same time. Thank you.
And you guys all touched on it, working with the school district a little bit. This next question will allow you to expound on that a little more. It is, how will you collaborate with the superintendent and board members to improve both school systems? Do you think the two systems need to be merged? And I think what they're probably asking here is the city and school system. And Mr. Perkins.
Well, to answer the latter part of the question first, I don't know whether they should be merged or not. That's something that the community, the citizens, the parents, the educators need to work together with municipal government to make some kind of determination about that. It would take the county government, state legislators, and everybody at the table to make that decision. And it would be a big decision. The other thing is that, again, I mentioned earlier that grant funding, there are some grants out there to help with the education activities of our children that the school system is not eligible to apply for. As a collaborating partner, the city should be able to and will, under my administration, provide that collaborative support. And finally, I would be working with parents through the education system, through government, to try and strengthen parental training and activities, to work with government instead of incarcerating our children, to try to rehabilitate them.
Ms. Martin.
Again, my goal is always going to be to complement and to support the goals that both of our school systems and our superintendents have put into place, but also providing opportunities for our private school students as well as both our city and county students to come together in our community under our education program and leadership program to volunteer, to work doing internships and apprenticeships year long. So this way, we won't have to wait for a magnet school to bring our young people together, but we can do it on a daily basis as they learn to trade together, as they go out into the communities and volunteer in the churches or volunteer in the nursing homes. We're going to teach team building while also preparing them for the real world, because we have to give them those jobs, skill sets that are going to prepare them if they're not getting into school. So that would be our take on that.
Mr. Evans?
I would say to you that the piece of consolidating the school system is something that needs to be studied. Bring in the key people who can study that and see what is best for the city as well as for the children, as well as the county and the private school sector. That is something that would take time and work and open mind to make that happen. However, I would say also that I know that we're talking about roughly about 8,000 students combined that would be a part of that change if it did take place. About 8,000 students, maybe 9,000 when it comes to private school and all like that. So that's a study that needs to be done in order to determine what is best for education, what is best for children. The other point I would like to say is that when you combine like the academics, athletics, and the arts are critical in creating programs that make a difference in children's lives. And I think that the school system is doing its best right now. The children and the teachers are working hard. We just need to get more involved from the standpoint of the city government, as well as we can get just more parental involvement and more funding for the school system. I think the schools will even play for that.
Mr. Miller?
The question about merging our school systems, again, that's a question that the community has to decide. And of course, it would have to go through the legislature in order for that to happen and make a reality. But as mayor, what I would do, we have two school systems here. We would try to discover which programs are the strongest in regards to each school system, what niche do they have, and see what ways we can partner with the county and the city to make sure our kids have access to those programs. What does that look like? If we're strong in the tech area in the county school, we want to make sure the kids in the city have that exposure to the tech area. If we're strong with welding in the city, we want to make sure the kids in the county have access to that. Listen, if Selma changes, the black belt changes. If Selma changes, the state of Alabama changes. So we got to change our education system So all of us change. That's what we'll do under Mills administration.
Mr. Bell.
The question was, should the school systems be merged? Simply put, no. But I think it's very, very important that they do put their heads together several times a year to compare problems and perhaps share solutions to those problems that they may have. And then in those talks, I think it's very important that the city government be a part of it and the county commission be a part of it. Now, with that said, also, I think that maybe to try after-school programs to get the county students together and the city schools together and let them do programs together to get to know each other. I know when I went to the county, when I went to county schools, I had no interaction with anybody in the city ever. I didn't know anybody. But I think it'd be important to pull them together and maybe a starting point. No, the answer would be no, but communication is very important. Thank you.
Next question. What measures would you consider to increase local funding for the city school system? Mr. Perkins.
Well, the first thing we have to do is be more efficient with the funding we have. I am not an advocate of raising taxes, and that sounds the implication of that question. While I served as mayor, all of the things we did with economic development in support of the school system, including maintaining all of the playgrounds and the playground equipment for the school system, including provide greater access to city facilities without charging the school system an arm and a leg. Many of the things that we were able to do, we did it without raising taxes on the citizens of Selma. My commitment to Selma is I did it before, and I can do it again.
Ms. Martin.
Again, my way of getting this money that we can get to all our school systems, specifically our city school system, is through prioritized budgeting and also through my $4 million tourism plan. We will be able to get $1 million a year that we will be able to bring in opportunities for our young people, opportunities like the Brown Y that instilled so much in me as a young person, to have after-school programming and to actually have places where our young people can go to have a safe haven and to also get that tutoring and mentorship that they need. So we will provide the extra funding that the city needs, that the city school system needs, but also we will be providing funding so that we can have programming that our young people can have a safe haven to go to get both those educational needs and also athletic needs. And it's just a place to go and have fun and to get a better day.
Mr. Evans.
I would say this to you, that certain funding is important for the school system and Indiana at the priority. I want to also say that our budget is, for the first time in the history since I've been mayor, because when I came in as mayor, we were in recession. The first 4 years of my term as mayor was a recession. I'm in the second quarter of the working quarter. This year is the first year we've ever had a budget at 17.4 million. That's the first time we've had 15 million and we moved out. However, I want to say that financial stability in our city is phenomenal. Every penny we get, we can account for and do what we do. We have stability in finance. Every budget year, we met our budget, our guidelines, and we have a balanced budget per year. I will concur that we need to do more for the city school system, and we need to do more for our neighborhoods, as well as for the city. And I'll do everything I can to continue to work and build that progress.
Mr. Miller.
Current state legislator, what we have done, two primary things that Alabama Constitution calls us to do. That is to balance the general fund budget and to balance the education trust fund budget. That budget is over $7 billion. And I know the men over in Montgomery, what is essential is to make sure that our enrollment in our school system increase. Right now, our city has been divided. It started back in the 90s. But I believe we had to get back to a place where everybody's a part of our public education system. Why? Because when everybody's a part of our public education system, we get more federal dollars and we get more state dollars. And so that's what I'll do in regards to being your mayor. Now let's talk about Hoover, because everything needs to be on the table. We often brag and talk about Hoover education system. You know why this system look that way? Because they pay more for their kids to go to school. We are measuring Selma but what we do for the most vulnerable people during their time of life and the prime of their life. So we have to leave all options on the table. Does it mean revisiting the property tax thing? As a mayor, I will tell you we won't do that. We need to keep everything on the table.
Mr. Baker.
Thank you. First, it's very important, I think, when we go to the superintendent of our school system to find out what do they need? What are areas that are not being used and that you can turn back over? We can use them in different ways. But get their information first. Then put it to a citizen vote. If they want property taxes raised, it has to go to they'll have to vote on it. But raising sales tax is not on the radar screen at this time, I can tell you that. But property tax, we have to put to the citizen vote. But first, communication from the superintendents and the teachers. What do you need? What are you lacking? What areas do you not need? What do we need to move into? So I think that's very important. Thank you.
And our final question in this category, what options would you propose to prepare students who will not be seeking a four-year college degree after high school? Mr. Perkins.
I have to go back and share information about what was done before. Prior to leaving office, we had a strong program called Selma Works that brought people in wherever they were. They did not have to have a high school diploma, but wherever they were, they could go into Selma Works, become job ready trained, and when they left that program would be job ready, could move from there to focus industry training, junior college or trade school, or to be specifically trained by AIDT for a specific job in industry. Those kinds of initiatives, they still exist. They're just not being promoted at the level they need to be promoted, in my opinion, from City Hall. As mayor, I would make sure that people know through our church organizations, social organizations, that these programs are available so we can do a better job of matching our people with the jobs that exist.
First thing I would like to do is to work with our Army recruitment officers, because my brother is here today that served almost 20 years in our Army representing our country and fighting for our country. So I would also recommend to them to programs in order that will help them start businesses, like our Business Accelerator, but I would have a smaller program like that out of City Hall that can help them start businesses in the areas they're already successful in. And I'll also have at all times a list of jobs that you can work in Selma without a degree. This is very necessary because so many young people come to me in this exact circumstances and have no idea how they can seek employment. So I will always make this available online. We can create apps. There are so many ways we can reach out to our young people and to those working age people who are desiring a job to make sure that they are connected with the jobs that are already here and the jobs that are coming.
Mr. Evans.
I would agree there's always room for improvement. There's a lot more we can do to prepare our young people in order so they can not have to go off to college and stay at home and work. And that's one of the things I said earlier about the HR program that's been existing right now through the school system and through our businesses already in Selma. As they're going into schools right now, preparing our young people to work in the summer as well as stay at home when they graduate from high school. This program, and we have also put in the city of Selma right now at our Welcome Center on Broad Street, entrepreneurship program, whereby we're bringing in young entrepreneurs in order for them to be a part of a program to help them get a jump start. Down there also is the career link, but down there on Water Avenue with Clifton Hunter. Clifton is doing an outstanding job with his staff, preparing young people and getting them in job skills so they can be better prepared for the future. And I applaud all those things.
Mr. Miller.
I think it's important that we start where our kids are. At one time, it was the popular thing for all our kids to go off to school to get a 4-year degree, to get a master's degree, to get a doctorate degree. But we have to make sure that we are educating our kids for the workforce that we have available today. So with or without a degree, we want to make sure we start in the high schools, start even in the middle schools, preparing our kids to take the technical jobs that are available right now. Well, I do know we have over 5,200 jobs or people who commute to our county every day. And the question we have to ask ourselves, why are they commuting to our county? Because the workers here, we have not prepared them to take on those jobs. Under the Melton administration, if they want to work in our county, we need to seriously consider having an occupational tax. If you work here, you can pay to work here.
I like the idea of starting with, I'm going to go with the Wallace Community College. It's been a great option. I myself being a graduate of two associate's degree, one in horticulture, one in business. But our tech school there is wonderful, and I visited it before and been glad to see the work and the job that goes on there. And then from there, I'm sure they have the co-op program that work with local industries to move these trained students slowly into on the job force. And of course, there's on-job training with local industry. They can take people that want to learn quickly. They can take them on too. I started on this subject a little while ago. I think I'd like to start a basic workforce, which is for people that don't have the work skills, but they truly want to work, can help them see the basic work that needs to be done while our crews can concentrate on more pressing issues. But I wanted to call it the basic workforce. They want to work. You can work you can get good wages for a week of work, and in addition to whatever.
Okay, that concludes our questions and answers on the education section. What we're going to do right now is take a 5-minute break. We'll come back after that and have the second part of our
Ladies and gentlemen, before you leave your seats, I want to remind you, you were given a 3x5 card at the door. Fill those out and drop them in the box over here for whichever candidate you want your question to be placed to. And then those questions will come from you to the platform.